Hello, it's Follow Everton, and in typical Everton fashion, we have new ownership, and we have another nil-nil draw. We're here with Ryan, Corey, and Chris in my festive polo shirt. So, welcome everyone. So Corey, what we start you off? You're a little bit more enthusiastic than I am, but I'm not disappointed. 0-0. We battled well. We were defensive. Weren't creative the whole match, but you thought there was some positives to take from it.
Yeah, I mean, it still wasn't a great game, but if you compare it to last week against Arsenal, whereas against Arsenal we got a good point from it, fantastic, but we relied on a lot of luck. We relied on Pickford really heavily. The defence still looked shaky. We got lucky, and we never looked like scoring. Even in the first half, which was the worst part of the game, there was still one or two chances where we broke on the counter, and it looked like, at least looked to me like there was a way, we identified a way in which we could score. Against Arsenal, there was no hope. So there's a little bit of positivity there. The second half as well, the changes he made shook things up a little bit. The fact that we, for the first time in ages, I think we've done enough to win the game. Obviously, we didn't score them. Harrison, terrible chance. But relative to how we've played recently in our performances, I do think it's a lot better. It's shown the kind of performance that we've seen last year, which again still wasn't good enough, but where we were countering teams as opposed to just defense. I just seen a lot more. There's a bit more than what we've had previously. Not great, but it's definitely an improvement on what we've had so far this season.
So, what I will counter with is over the duration of a 90-minute match, we had 5 total shots on goal. That's not including on target. So, yes, we were so excited to see an attacking play, an opportunity just to get the ball on target. It was rainy, it's miserable, and Ryan came in, and a lot of the fans go to a match like this. It's cold, dreary, and you're looking for excitement. They got the battle, and yes, there were a few times Abdoulaye Doucouré in particular seemed to have a lot of vigor through the middle. There was a lot of battling with Njai, with Disasi on that left side. So there was some positives in that way, but were we breaking them down? Were we creative? In that first half, you're saying, you know what drove me nuts? We know it's windy and messy. You couldn't even set the ball on the ground. The referee had to keep stopping the match to say it's windy, it's out of control. You still got rolled back to Pickford. You don't want to take a risk on any player being out of position. So instead, you just give the ball away consistently unless it was on a very selective counter-attacking opportunity at home. Yes, they're a better team, but was it really worth us playing that defensive and having 4 or 5 options until late when the game started to open up?
Yeah, I mean, it's still defensive. Like I said, I'm not supporting the fact that we've been too defensive all season. You know what I mean? We have been poor and we've not shown anything at all going forward. It's been really disappointing. It's more the positivity compared to what we've had so far. It's definitely improvement. Like it's been a tough season this season. Just watching the game, even results that have come in our favour have been poor. In case in point, Fulham. It's more a case of the positivity is it's better than what it has been. Now, if we can build on that and improve on that, it looks a little bit better. And then if you can improve even further, it gets better than that. So, look, I'm grasping at straws, and it's been absolutely terrible. Mm-hmm. But sometimes when things are garbage, you take any little positive that you can do. It's 2 points against 2 good teams, and it's a better performance than we've had previously. So, the Japanese have a term for it, Kaizen. Small little steps, continuous improvements. Just do what we can at the moment and take what we can and hopefully move forward with this in hand.
Yeah. And I think, look, we had a few 0-0s at home that were just a few 0-0s this season that were a lot less inspiring. The Newcastle one, I think we played better today against a better opposition than Newcastle, but we also drew 0-0 at Brentford, and this was a better result for sure. I'm not sure if Ryan's trying to connect in, but he's leaving good distance network here. So Ryan, did you want to come in live and get your take on what it was like being at the match today?
I think that L4 signal mixed in with the wind's not the best for him, is it?
No, I think. Well, you know what? The network is about as good as the Everton Liverpool cancelled match, but we'll bring him in here in a minute. But you know what? Daesh isn't going to be coming in and breaking the mold anytime soon. We've drawn against West Ham. We've drawn against Leicester, Newcastle, Brentford. I'm probably missing someone else. Who else have we drawn with this season? Fulham as well. So that's a lot of draws. And I think of the draws, I think this is probably the best of them. That's we're talking about grasping at straws here because there's a really I think the first comment today really summarizes how I felt. And I fell asleep on the couch and had to get a second coffee here at midnight to try and watch this. That's the level we're getting used to now. Hi, old, good point again. It was. Everton defended well, but was it painful to watch? Absolutely. There's nothing quite like saying, well, at least we didn't give up a goal. Pickford's got the ball again. Oh, no, we gave it away. What are we going to do? We've got 20%. We're not. And then occasionally we have a counterattack. A lot of the times they shut down. So same old, But look, I'm happy if we're truly saying that if we opened up and took a risk, we get beat. A point is a point, And we'll see if Ryan comes in this time.
All right, mate. You okay? You and Oz?
Okay, just defrosting my knees. Very cold. Very, very cold inside Goodison. So cold that the few, and I mean few, times that you actually had to get off your seat because we got the ball near the Chelsea goal, you felt like you were pulling your quads muscles because it was so cold. But yeah, I mean, there's not a more predictable score in football, is there, than an Everton 0-0 this season? I think that's the 7th 0-0, or it's certainly up there with the considerable amount of 0-0s.
Yeah, if it's not, we have the record at least. You have to say.
Yeah, I mean, look, it just typifies, doesn't it? We know this. We're not great to watch. The terrible games. Who chooses for football? No wonder you don't get chosen for live TV on a Sunday. But it's dependable and it's grinding results out. I think today was only the second time that Chelsea haven't scored in a game. The last time was the first game of the season against City. So they're a team who scores. They're a good attacking team. So we show that we can defend really well. Bramthwaite played the game in second gear today. Played proper Rolls Royce. We just can't attack. It's partly because of the players, but mainly because of the manager. On this occasion, I'm just choosing to take it as a positive. Look at it in good stead. And that's two. I think it was Peter said previous a couple of minutes ago. Peter Collins, 2 points in the last 2 games is 2 points more than expected. We'll take it. That's a positive.
Yeah. We thought we'd probably lose every single match. I thought we'd lose Arsenal. I thought we'd lose Chelsea and probably draw against Wolves because the form was that bad. But we've got 5 points from those 3 matches, and I think anyone would have snapped your hands off for them. I think obviously if you look at it as a 1-1 draw or a 2-2, people might be a bit more excited for some reason, but kind of mildly reassuring is the fact that, the defence is solid. It's can you get some top-end players to finish? I think we had 2 big chances today. Jack Harrison, my feelings on Jack Harrison. I think we should be terminating the loan in January and sending him back to Leeds, to be honest. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Terminate their contract, send him back to Leeds. Thank you, but no thank you. And that's a massive failure on Everton to bring him back for a second year on a $5 million a year salary. I'd rather have a salary than him playing for us on the right wing because it'd be just as useless. And he missed a big chance. All he needed to do was lift it over the keep it anyway from the goal. He was only 3 yards out. And I think the second chance, the one where Lindstrom, who's full of running and endeavour, apologies, I'm in the back of a very bumpy car coming through town, and only briefly so as well. But he played a really good ball across the box. Why is it like being in a spaceship? He 1,000 feet.
In a spaceship. Yeah, that's about right.
Driving. But dragging him out for the match was hard. But Chelsea just defended really well, and I'm not afraid to say Chelsea outclassed us. They were better on the ball than us. They were the ones that looked like scoring. They moved it from side to side. They had wingers who were threatening. They had Cole Palmer who had the quick feet. He's in the right areas, Palmer, where Ndiaye gets it. He was brilliant, but he's in the wrong areas. But from the Everton perspective, we defended superbly as well. I think we defended so well, but Chelsea were really comfortable defensively. They were just like, we were like in a park and we're the adult and there's like a 3-year-old, he's trying to dribble back. That was what we felt like.
Just kick it back and chase it kind of thing.
Yes. Oh my God, we just booted it back to them every single time. We didn't have a plan to do anything with the ball. We didn't want the ball.
Yeah. We didn't want to win. We just didn't want to lose. And that, you know what? Dyche got what he wanted. He didn't lose today.
And you know what? Like I said, yeah, Chelsea were comfortable in possession, but apart from them two chances, obviously the big save that Pickford made and the post, apart from that, and look, it's a big scale, but we've kind of counted with our chances. Apart from that, I didn't feel like Chelsea were going to score after that point. We defended really well. I think Tarkowski was solid. Young skinned a couple of times, but he done enough to help for it. Mikalenko done okay. I thought he had a decent game, not fantastic. Yeah. And Jared Branthwaite, I thought one of his best games in a while for us. There was a point where Young did get skinned, and he preempted that well in advance, and he'd come over from the left to the right and tackled Sancho because he's seen it happen. He just preempted it, which is really good vision for someone of his age and his experience. Slide tackles when he was covering for Mikalenko, winning the ball and then driving forward with it and playing passes through as well. So I think we were very, apart from the two chances that Chelsea had, we were really comfortable at the back. It wasn't a great game to watch. No, yeah, that's correct. But having that kind of control defensively against the team who's second in the table, who could have gone top if they won today, is it's a good point. And defensively, it's a good performance. We just need to get something attacking going.
Yeah, and I think we were all worried, right, that this would be a period, and I still feel like that could happen. But look, we've gotten a win against Wolves that I thought we'd pull off. I thought we would lose against Brentford. I thought we'd lose against Arsenal and nick a point against Chelsea. And I think largely that's kind of averaged out okay. And, you know, surprisingly, right now, Everton are 15th. I'm not saying that that's what we want long term, but if it's solely stability and not taking a risk with a new manager, with the Friedkin group coming in now, formerly being in 15th, meaning Crystal Palace are there right there with us with one, but we have Liverpool to play at home later with that replay for rescheduling. So we're ahead of Palace. Leicester are looking terrible after the Wolves thrashed them 3-0. So that's one where they don't look like they're going anywhere fast. Ipswich, again, got flogged, and Southampton are way out. So if we're worrying about three teams not that are below us, Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton right now are not looking good at all. And Palace and Wolves are questionable. So we're not down the bottom of the table during a tough run of fixtures. A point is it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, and if we get to 19 games played, which not too far, we're 16 now, so three more games to go. So that's what in the turn of the new year we'll be able to assess from there how we're doing points wise. It's if you double the amount of points that we've got, I know it doesn't work like that, but let's say just for math's sake, you double the amount of points we've got, we're at a position where we would have survived last season. This isn't the barometer, by the way, guys. We're being a little bit more positive. That's not the barometers that we should be testing ourselves against. We need to be doing a lot better. But I'm just trying to look at the positives. On a day like today, I must have got out on the right side of the bed. A good 9 hours kip last night. Being really, really positive. So yeah, look, I think there's a lot to look at in a positive light. We know what the issues are. We know we're far too defensive. We know we have no chance at scoring half the time, but there's some positives for us to look at and something that we just need to build on, whether it's with Dyche or a new manager to come January.
So I'm going to bring up one of my favorite SofaScore statistics here for us to have a quick look at, which I think ties into, we're looking at positives here. Now, I'm not going to say that SofaScore is always correct with some of their metrics, but if you look at this stat here in the middle of the screen, this little bar, Everton is in green at the top there, Chelsea in blue. So what this is typically meant to do through sabermetrics and statistics is say Chelsea in possessions of dominance have the blue bar showing down below, and Everton is up in the green. So if this is broken down basically per minute in the game, there's only like 5 minutes that Everton were deemed to be in possession or likely to score through the duration of that. Now, I think that this is sometimes a deceptive stat, though, Corey, because Chelsea, for the most part, weren't breaking us down. They can pass it around the box, and the statistics get bloated. But we can also quickly look at some information like, let me find this. We have an XG. Okay, we only had 4 shots, and they had 12 big chances, 2 versus 3. We had Pickford have a few key saves. I think the first corner we got was like in the 70th minute, and we're based off corners. That says a lot. We didn't have much of the ball. I think 25%, so even below the 1/3 metric we're expecting. Yes, we had tackles. Yes, we gave away some free kicks. And I think one of the most important things is the yellow card that Ashley Young received today. So if I understand that correctly, is he now suspended for the upcoming match against Man City? So that's why they brought Seamus Coleman on to get his legs fresh for that match. And how do you think he did, knowing that he'll probably be coming on next week?
I don't think he had an absolutely terrible game, to be fair. Sancho's a tricky customer. He's probably helped by the fact he's not the quickest. He's not absolutely rapid, Sancho. So I think he done well. There was 2-3 tackles where he dived in. I think that yellow card was for an accumulation of fouls, weren't it? Because it wasn't exactly a yellow card challenge, but he'd made a few of them. He got skinned once or twice again. It's all said about Branthwaite coming across.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a difficult game today. It was a good battle between him and Sancho and Malangusta, who's playing wide left, and he is rapid. Look, I think he had a fairly solid game, to be honest. Not on real levels, because he did get skinned and picked up a booking, but he done a professional job.
Yeah. And Seamus Coleman, do you think with that being the case, and if I understand that correctly, he's out next week because of an accumulation of yellow cards now?
Correct, yeah.
We'll see. Do you think we'll see Patterson starting? Knowing the way Dyche likes to have a insured defense, I only see Coleman starting. Do you think that's going to be the case? And if so, how do you think he fared today, filling in for Young in the last 20 minutes or so?
Yeah, I think it's a given that Seamus Coleman's going to start. Even if it was like I'm saying me, but even if we had a more defensive manager playing, you'd probably more expect Seamus Coleman, because as poor as City are, there's still a team of superstars, and you're going to play a bit more defensive, aren't you? You want to hold them off. So Seamus would have started anyway, regardless of Dyche's opinions on Patterson. But I'd expect him to start. I think his cameo today, he done all right. He won a corner. He's shown what he's capable of. He got down, a couple of twists and turns, a lot more than what Ashley Young does, because it's his natural position. And when he did push forward, he drew players towards him and played the ball in. I think there was a point there where we didn't exactly get through on goal, but he had the ball, took on one man, had to come back. By that point, they drew 2 players out wide, played it into Ashley Young and then Mangala, and it got us a little run towards goal. Nothing come of it eventually, but it creates them other opportunities closer to the opposition box, if you know what I mean. And it's good to see.
Yeah, I mean, of all things you're going to say for Coleman, especially for his age, he is still quite an offensive player. He will do the overlapping runs. Are they anywhere near as effective as he was in his prime? No. I don't think we're going to expect that ever. But you still saw some of that vintage Seamus coming back in, even if it was for 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, he's a really high class fullback, was back in his day, and you don't lose that ability. You lose your legs, yeah, and sometimes later on in games that means your head goes, because when your body's tired, your mind's tired. But when he's doing cameos or when he's starting the game, he's still a really solid defender, and he's really good going forward, because he's got that intelligence, he's got that experience, he knows what to do. Case in point, the goal against Leeds, obviously, 2 years ago.
You're not going to forget that one.
Yeah, but you know what? When that ball went down the right wing and he had that bit of space, I thought, yeah, with the wind like this, is he going to go for it again? Just wrap his foot for a bit.
Oh, there was a message here I really wanted to quickly go back to, because we're bringing back vintage Coleman. Where is it? I saw a message about age. Let me go quickly find it, because while we were talking there, I wanted to bring this post up. So this was an image showing the average age of the Premier League squad so far this season. So Everton's and West Ham, which are basically the David Moyes 2 point, like basically the team like us that aren't us, West Ham are there at 28 years and over 200 days. So basically nearly 29-year-old average players. So, and then Chelsea being the freak of nature that they are, spending £1 billion on upside on youth, are down at 23. But we are distinctly the oldest squad, only by a little bit to West Ham, but compared to almost anyone else in the Premier League. So we're in drastic need of an overhaul. And I just wanted to talk to that because I found we had this chart available. So I wanted to bring that up quickly.
Yeah, it's a good point. Something we know. I think a lot of them players as well are out of contract in the summer. So that's where we have decisions to make. And I'd expect the average age of our squad to decrease massively in the summer. Players like Young may still get another contract. He's done all right this season if he plays elsewhere, as long as he's not a starter. Coleman, again, he'll be part of the club in some capacity, whether it's as a player or not, we don't know. Decore's getting on. Drissa Gay, does he have another season in him? Wouldn't surprise me if he does. But there's a lot of older players here. Michael Keane pushing 30. Decore's over 30. Calvert-Lewin's getting on as well. So they're players that will leave us quite possibly in the summer, and that age will decrease massively. Hopefully when that does happen, we'll have a more progressive manager who will utilise a younger squad and play progressive kind of football.
And hopefully we see, maybe it's not Patterson, maybe it's Roman Dixon, but someone with pace wanting to take on the game. I just really want to see something a little bit different. Ryan, channel admin, is coming back from the game and encouraging everyone that hasn't done so already to please like and subscribe. And appreciate everyone for their feedback. There's nothing quite like listening to the two of us saying, you know what, 0-0 wasn't a sexy result, but it's a point. So thank you for everyone listening in, because there are going to be more and more hopefully exciting matches to talk about in the future, other than a grisly, well, we did what we said we'd do and we get a 0-0. Let's be practical. It's Christmas here. Everyone's getting a baked potato. We need to focus on the fundamentals. No treats this year.
That's it, 100%. I've been pushing the positivity thing since the takeover was announced. I think the preview, the pre-match, that's all I've said. Let's be positive. So I've convinced myself, Chris. But why not? If there's a time to do it, it's now. And a couple of good results. It's something that we can use as a springboard to push forward. Look, City are there for the taking. They're not doing very well. Again, they struggled against Villa. Villa themselves are a good team, but they've not been in unreal form either. So there's certainly a team that can be got at. If you look at that form table there, 1 win in the past 5 games, 4 points in the past 5 games, 1 win, 1 draw. We've got a much better form than that. So they're there for the taking. They're mentally weak, something that maybe our players, again, physical, maybe try and bully them. We can try and again take advantage of that. If the weather's absolutely garbage on Boxing Day, again, hopefully that can help in our favour as well.
Yeah, and an injured John Stones again. Gvardiol's playing in the centre. He's excellent going forward, but he's a liability as a centre half. Rico Lewis plays up in advance, or you have Kyle Walker there. So they're fragile at the back. Maybe you have the likes of Branthwaite and Tarkovsky causing a menace on set plays, this kind of deal. But
Ruben Diaz, I think, is still touching.
Yeah, Ruben's out too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're fragile at the back. They're fragile through the middle. If you watch that game, Yori Tielemans was basically man of the match. He would just turn, pivot, and pass through the middle. So if we can have the likes of a Decore on form, and he seems to have, he did a defensive job, and like Decore does, he's going to charge through the middle, give the ball away most of the time, but at least seem to be committed to the forward runs. But maybe he won't be the one. Maybe what you want actually is Mangala next week receiving the ball deep and doing a lot of through balls into those channels, because that seemed to be working for.
And then picks will fly, and the turkeys that have been carved up will glue themselves back together.
We can also expect a boring 0-0, Ryan. That's we could talk about 0-0 more, but it's the theme of the show. We're saying the football's boring and turgid, but if you're going to take them on, that has to be the way you do it.
That's it, right? Come on, let's be positive, lads. Step into Christmas.
The big question, Elton John, is: do is our defensive now down to tactics, in which we sacrifice our entire goal-scoring threat, or is it down to personnel and individual defensive ability? If it is the latter, then surely you say to Daesh, I will back you in January and I will give you 3 attacking players with pace who can dribble and put Ndai in the middle where he needs to be, because he's not going to do anything out there. We won't get 3, but what I'm trying to say is it a personnel issue or a tactical issue why we can't score? And is the reason we're good defensively tactical or personnel? If it's personnel, then that's, I think, easier to fix, because with investment
elsewhere, yeah. Look, as with anything, it's a little bit of both. But
Corey,
maybe against teams like Chelsea and Arsenal, there's a bit more tactical about it, because they're not games we expected. But the teams where we're not winning, that's where the difference is, because we can still be strong against them, which we are. And we can still push forward. So it's a little bit of both, mate. If we have the attacking players, which I think we've got attacking players to do a bit. If we played more attacking, with the players that we've got against teams lower down the table, we're talking anywhere. If you look at that table from 8th downwards, if we played more attacking, we'd still keep maybe not as many clean sheets, but we'd still be almost as defensively solid, and we gain a bit more. The issues are fullbacks, because Mikalenko is solid defensively in my eyes on a one-on-one, but he can easily get caught over the top, and Ashley Young doesn't have the legs.
Yeah, Corey, turn the gain down just slightly on your microphone, just a touch.
Hey, boss.
Like 20%. 20%.
How's that for
and
you?
now you get to what?
Perfect,
We're watching
that's
live
better.
modifications to the audio and visual setup here, folks. So you're getting it live. You're getting it fresh here from Ryan and Corey.
Manchester City have fallen off a cliff. I have no idea what's gone on. It could obviously just be the injuries, and the players they've got put in aren't good enough. Missing John Stones, missing Rodri, missing Ruben Diaz. They had strength and depth. It's all gone out the window. I don't rate Nathan Ake, and I don't rate a lot of those Gvardiol. He's too forward thinking for a defender. It's all gone off a cliff for them. But I wouldn't be surprised if it is another 0-0, in all honesty. And you might say, "Oh, City are losing every match and they're struggling." But I think we'll just go and do the same thing we've done in the last 2 games. We're going to go there on Boxing Day, and we're just going to go, nah, you're not scoring. The thing that bothers me is, we've got to start impacting games and nicking the results, turn the draws into wins. I think it's doable, and the way to do that for me against Man City would be to play Brozier and make sure he's leading the line against Man City with a clear objective to hold the ball up and run at them, and we'll have Ndai following up from behind, and try and get some 2v2 situations, because Manchester City love to overload you, commit too many men forward. So if we can rob the ball and we've got some 2v2 and 3v3 situations, that's when we can punish them. I thought also the set pieces have got to do a bit better today. I don't know what we were doing with the couple of set pieces we did have. We decided to roll the ball back to Garner Gay just to boot it straight back to them. And Everton on the ball against Chelsea, why, when they're so good at the ball, was our game plan, okay, we've got the ball back now, we've worked so hard to take it back off you, we're going to launch it forward as long as we can to nobody? Is that all that hard work just to boot it back to you? What is the point? I'm sorry. And if I was buying Everton Football Club coming in now, I'd be thinking, bloody hell, that is boring as hell. I know they got a 0-0, but where's the fun in that? And you don't buy football clubs for anything other than to have a bit of fun. I think when you got that much money, unless you're greedy and you really do think you can make some money, but I think, why'd you buy the football club? To have a bit of fun. So I don't think he'll stick with that. I think he'll keep him on side short term, and then I think it'll be thank you but no thank you.
Yeah, I think we all agree. They should be gone the latest in the summer. Whether or not he goes in the next couple of weeks or January is a different thing, isn't it? Because, like you've said there, we want something different. The fans want something different. And managers surely going to want better football, something more entertaining, especially in this new era with a nice, sexy ground. Hopefully, with a new, sexy sponsor, new, sexy football kits. Give us Kappa or the Adidas Trifoil, and some sexy togger as well. That's the aim. That's what you want to do as a new manager. But it's a case of when do we do it? We're still in that little bit of limbo, aren't we, with the whole Dyche contract coming up mid-season
They won't
kind of
get
thing.
sacked. There's no chance they'll get sacked because ultimately, I'm thinking rationally here, guys. The teams that Arsenal and Chelsea have been playing have beaten them. So Arsenal and Chelsea are winning 9 out of 10 matches. Yeah. And we've got a point. We didn't lose to either of them. So Dyche is kind of like going to say, well, why would you sack me? I've stopped these teams. And the reason we're not winning the games is because my forward players aren't good enough. Jackie Harrison might as well be Jackie Chan, because I honestly think this guy, there's something must be going. I'm not trying to be mean, but something must be going on with him outside of football. That is the only suggestion I have, to be that poor week in, week out. I can't remember a player for Everton as bad as him, week in, week out, offering nothing in the front three. Even Umar Niasse scored 9 goals in a season. He was the worst player ever to put on a blue shirt in 150 years.
Well, I think you're forgetting Per Coldrup there.
Okay. I concede. I'm exaggerating slightly for the effect, but you know what I'm trying to say.
No, I am joking, mate. No, I agree with you. The most impressive thing about him was the fact his hair didn't move out of place in that wind. Is he's missed like 3 or 4 sitters, 4 sitters or 3 sitters in the past 3 matches. So it's absolutely garbage. Lindstrom looked a lot more effective when he come on. We know he brings him on for the defensive side of the work, because if you seen him at times, he was in the right back spot and actually
full of running.
Further back.
Full of running. Jack Harrison's basically playing right wing back, but compare Jack Harrison with Iliman Ndiaye, and although Ndiaye's not really consistently giving you the end product because he's trying to dribble inside past 2-3 players and eventually lose it or just retain it and not really go anywhere with it, at least he keeps the ball, he holds the ball up, he's very good at taking the ball in any area and relieving pressure. I think Jack Harrison loses all the duels. But we're not playing into some of these players. I mean, I thought today the atmosphere was shit. It was cold. The fans weren't singing. Even Chelsea weren't particularly interesting in their fans. I didn't understand what we were trying to do when we had the ball. And I think a good standard coach should be able to say, yeah, we can play 2 banks of 4, we'll defend the box and all that. We know you can do that. That's basic. I want to see a bit more. I don't want to see, oh, great, we've spent 10 minutes trying to tackle you and then we're launching it forward. I want to see a bit more. I'm a right to demand a bit more. I pay 55 quid for that ticket. Minimum wage, that's 5 hours work.
Look, I mean, none of us are disagreeing with you, mate. The football's turgid. We say this all the time. But we know exactly what's going to happen. Well, we don't know what's going to happen with the club, but we know that he's not going anywhere, at least not for a couple more weeks. And a lot of us expect him, and myself, we expect him to be until the end of the season.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If you were, we've got 13 players out of contract at the end of the season. Okay. You need to do some sort of show where you say who you'd keep, who you'd sell, who you'd give another year to. That's a Chris. That's a Lychee special. That one, 100%. But what I was going to say was, if you were Calvert-Lewin, would you honestly want to stay at Everton Football Club, knowing the way you played and kind of the atmosphere and the talk around you and all that? Would you really? And you know, we haven't offered him this big contract that everyone's thinking we have. It was less money than he's on now.
Yeah, look, I don't blame him at all if he wants to leave. He's had a torrid time. Sometimes, even if he doesn't dislike the club and he's not been treated badly, he's just had a torrid time, injuries, and then he comes back when he's fit. He plays his kind of football on the Dyche where he's isolated. You sometimes just need a fresh start, and I don't blame him for that.
It was a rough game to beat DCL, wasn't it? I mean, if the best distribution you're getting is Pickford overhit long balls in a strong wind, what a rough you're getting paid as a professional to be out there in the rain, what have you, but it's not a fun time to be DCL on these matches half the time. You're just standing there getting battered by centre halves with poor distribution to you, and you say told to chase. What's the point, you know?
Yeah, no, you got points. He literally was getting balls lifted up to him in this wind where he can't even judge them. It's cold. Every single hit you get stings. And he's getting battered about them. Then the three centre-backs they had there, the three big lads, Levi Colwell's physical, Tosin Adebayo, his main ability is his physicality, and Matt Disasi, although he kept going down like he was made out of bread, he's a big, strong lad. He's solid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're getting the lumps kicked out of you by them,
Yeah.
you get absolutely nothing for it. It's a thankless task, and no wonder he's not happy if he's not happy. Oh, shall we move
We've
on
got
to
a lot of comments,
yeah?
and I just wanted to say thank you for a fantastic show, and that everyone who hasn't already subscribed should absolutely subscribe. And I felt like a phone-in caller, and the reality was I was a phone-in caller on the show. Look at these two with their matching mics. Matching mics and the retro kits, and
Yeah.
Lychee,
Matching covers as well.
have you got a green screen there?
Yeah, I'm using a green screen.
It's an
Exactly
actual
what it
green screen.
Oh no, it's a custom off the laptop, but it's not a full green screen.
Right, we
Halfway
need
there.
are you leaning towards a green screen?
Well, I'm here at this place until I get my own.
He doesn't want anyone to see where he is. Are you in a cabin in the middle of nowhere?
Let me show you how uninteresting my background is.
It can't be any more uninteresting than. Oh my goodness! You sure that's not another fake background?
Like a stock photo.
It's all his tactical analysis. Look at this.
Coming to you
I'm
live
loving these
from
comments.
Tokyo.
If you get
Need
the
a
green
cool
screen,
game,
it will work better. There's a reason why, because green, the highest contrast. Richo's got a season ticket. Big congratulations to you. Loving that, Chris. Big congratulations to you, Richo, but you best still be watching every stream home and away. Make sure you have your headphones coming out of Goodison, because we're not losing you, one of our very important members. And we do some shout outs before you two carry on. I'll leave you. David B, Rod Rock, Wormy Spoons, Peter Duggan, some of these amazing faces. We got Kazuri in the comments there, DJ Mid, Rod Ross. Thank you so much for supporting us. I can't see past there because I only joined in at a certain point. Well, I've got to go to work now, and I'll listen back to this. And by the way, guys, 2 really good streams midweek. We had the Aussie Blues, Chris and Adam reacting to the takeover and talking and going off on a tangent because they're busy mates and they love to just divulge in every topic under the sun. And then we had the Scouse-ish Blues, Corey and Mabsy, which was quite entertaining to watch, to say the least, between Mabsy dipping into hosting responsibilities very eloquently. So watch those videos after this. But yeah, thank you for a point, Chelsea.
So, Merry
Thanks to you
Christmas,
too.
Chelsea lads, in a bit.
See you, boys.
Catch you, Ryan.
Peace out. The so Chris,
Mhm.
before we close off, should we go through ratings for the team?
Yeah, we can do that. I wasn't sure. Did you want me to bring up the squad and the starting lineup just for reference, or what are you thinking?
I can freestyle.
we can
It
just
makes
flip
no issues. So
Yeah, go
I'm a
for it.
pro these days.
Yeah, memory.
So Pickford in goal. How do you think that went?
If you want to blame him for distribution in the bad weather, then his score goes down. But other than that, I think he was quite solid. Other than yelling at the ref and getting himself a yellow, I think a 7 to an 8. He did everything he needed to.
Yeah, for me, I'd say 7.5 to an 8. I agree. Yeah, distribution wasn't the best, but I'll let him off for that because that weather was horrible. That winds at Socius.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can hear it now through my microphone. But no, regardless of the weather, I thought he had a really good game. That stop on Nicholas Jackson was probably 0.7 of their 0.77 XG. So that's as good as a goal. You know what I mean? So 7.5 to 8 for me for that one. Ashley Young at right back.
7.
7?
Not terrible. I mean, again, you're well defended, industrial. He didn't do a poor job. Occasionally he got beat and was steady the whole match. So I can't give the defenders less than a 7, can you? On a match like that when you keep a clean sheet?
a clean sheet. We controlled the game. Yeah, like I said, apart from 2 chances, the one from the Pickford save and the one from the corner, I thought we were very solid. So yeah, look, I agree. 7. While we're being positive, let's give him a 7. It's okay. James Tarkowski at centre back.
He was involved in the match, but like again, just steady presence. I think Branthwaite was clearly the better of the two today. He gets like 8, 8.5. Tarky's maybe a 7. But maybe I'm just falling asleep because it was midnight here here in Perth, Australia. So I was struggling with my coffee to stay awake on the 0-0. So maybe I missed some stuff. But Tarky wasn't bad, but he didn't stick out either to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Tarkowski 7.5. Really solid game. Defended really well. The typical antics that he gets involved with. Branthwaite, I agree as well. 8. At least for him, because you didn't hear from him throughout the match. He was quiet because he'd done his job. He covered for Ashley Young. He covered for Mikhalenko. I thought was really, really solid. Didn't think he put a foot wrong all game. So yeah, I agree with that for giving him at least an 8. In the central midfield, Mangala.
So Mangala had strikes on goal that almost no one else did. One of them was later on that was a bit under hit. But the other strike was quite a good strike. I think I can't remember if it missed or challenged the keeper, and it was that really good save down to the bottom right earlier on in the match. But he was our only real inroad to goal. It felt like the rest of the squad did their job, battled, didn't go out of position too often. Probably a 7.5, but maybe you could say less because he didn't do enough going forward. But I feel like he wasn't told to.
I agree. No, 7 to 7.5. I certainly agree with. He did look good going forward. He's probably our best central midfielder on the ball that we've got fit at the moment. There was a couple of times where the defence was lacking. With Chelsea played through it, but I agree. 7.5. I thought he had a solid game. Onto Idrissa Gana Gay. I actually thought he had one of his worst games for us. He felt invisible.
He had some scary moments on bad clearances near the end, and you're like, he could have
that one
lost us the match.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. But again, he's gonna win us the ball. But was he truly like dominating? No. 6 to 7. Not like a pass to me is a 6. 7 is like hitting expectation. I think it's somewhere around 6 to a 7. But I don't want to be low. I think the worst player on the team today was a 6 out of 10 for Harrison here in a minute, if I had to pick one. But I would say he's probably 6.5 to 7.
Yeah, I agree. 6 for me. I would have given him a 6 to a 6.5. Jack Harrison, let's move on to him. Nice and swiftly.
Yeah. He battled, but he didn't do anything going forward. He just defended, and that's all he did.
Defended, he done all right. Give him his dues for that. I think that's the reason I wouldn't give him like a 5, is because he defended well. But done nothing going forward. We look a lot better with Lindstrom up top, on the out wide. But that miss is gilt edge. Like, that's unforgivable. A miss like that. I'd understand if he hit it high up and it was a ridiculous save from Sanchez, but it was just the most obvious strike that he ever took. No power on it. And at that point, we should be 1-0 up. That's a gilt edge chance. For me, I'd probably give him a 5.5.
Yeah. So that miss worthy of dropping him. Otherwise, he wasn't great. He just defended. But that's partly what I think Dyche likes him for in that position. He's basically an extra defender to cover for Ashley Young. But if it's not Chelsea and you're worried about being dominated on the wing by Jadon Sancho or someone, and you're trying to win at home, is Jack Harrison going to do it? No, you want Lindstrom, because Harrison right now, confidence, what have you, it isn't there. He's just grinding, and that's it. But is he good enough right now? No. Maybe it's a different setup with a different manager, maybe, but under Dyche, no. He was not good enough. Actually, why don't we go to Decore? Because I feel like he was more. We didn't really play that 4-4-1-1 today. We played 4-5-1 with 3 flat in the middle, and he was the box to box. So, do you think he played better? I thought going forward, but he was charging forward and did his defensive duties. So I'm not sure I can give him a low score.
You know what? I actually thought he was one of our better players as well today. If I was to give a man of the match, he'd be in contention for it. Probably him, Branthwaite, and Pickford. I thought defensively he'd done his job. A couple of times where he made
That was
silly
very
fouls.
good there.
That's what he does. It's desperate fouls that he does at times. But going forward, I thought he didn't give the ball away too much. With the weather being terrible, I think he was just playing short passes, and it was a counter attack. There was a couple of times where he turned the Chelsea players in. The ball from Ndiaye through to him was brilliant. That counter attack, and then he slipped it to Mangala. Good vision, good awareness for that. Usually, you get the ball stuck under his feet and fall over. Full on Bambi mode. But unfortunately, he had a solid game. I think there was one point where he lost the ball, where he turned the Chelsea man, tried to turn him again, and then just went one more time when he needed to go back to Mikalenko just to recycle the ball. But apart from that, I thought he had a good game. For me personally, I'd give him a 7.5.
Yeah,
Generous 7.5.
It's the kind of Decore where his instincts are generally serving him well. Instead of he's out of the flow of it, he was involved and he didn't give the ball away too often in really critical areas. That's about all. Knowing what he can do, that was and he was solid. He didn't scare me defensively. That part of it's been really reliable for him in these 0-0 grinding results. Yeah, maybe 7.5 because the setup with Mangala, he was involved, but then again, I would like to see him more involved at the same time. When you like seeing him on the ball, but it was few and far between at the same time. But again, as that Dice just saying, you're not allowed to go out of position. Are we blaming the players for it? Yes and no, but I want to see more. But I guess that's and then let's say Ndiaye was probably the last of the defensive 10. How do you think he did?
I thought he had a solid game. A couple of times he held onto the ball a bit too long, a bit longer than he should do. But when you've got a team that we've got, he's the only one doing something, so he probably doesn't trust them. And when he did try and do something, I mean, he'd done a brilliant bit of skill on the left wing in the second half, ball in which went straight to the keeper, but he still tried something when he was outnumbered. Impressive as always, hard to rob the ball from. And that ball he played through to Harrison was brilliant. I feel like it was intended for Harrison as well, because if you look at the corner, he looked offside and he played it right behind him, fizzed it right behind him to Harrison. So that's great vision. If we've got players at his level who's going to tuck the ball away, his stats are going to be much higher because his XG, his XA, etc. isn't fantastic at the moment. But that's probably because of the players that he's playing with. If you give players a little bit more space because you've got extra players around him, he'll do a lot more. So again, I'd probably go a 7 to a 7.5 for him.
Yeah, I would also say he put himself in the right position to get the winning goal there from that break where Lindstrom went down that right side, crossed, Sanchez tipped it, and then it was a last minute block. That was an excellent block, all things considered. I forget the centre half's name who did it.
Was it Disasi? It wasn't Tosin, was it?
It was Tosin. Yeah, it was Tosin.
Yeah. So like
I keep thinking Cenk Tosin. I'm like, no, different Tosin. Yeah, Tosin blocked it.
So where it was like a poor miss from Harrison in the game when he had no one in front of him, he needs to do more with that. And the Tosin is so close to him when he hits that ball. He's just threw his body in front of it. It's a really good block. He's committed. But again, he's in the right spot. You know what I mean? To do that. You say Harrison is as well, but he's there to tuck that away. It's just a really good block on that occasion. So we give him the benefit of doubt for what he's done so far, even though it's not we've not got anything from it. Yeah. He's the one who's created anything from that game, really.
Yeah, he was in the right spot for me. And yes, he wasn't there the whole time, but there weren't creative opportunities. That's the spot you want him in. And you know what? He scored against Ipswich by being in that similar spot. So I think it wasn't his fault at all. But it's a tough game for forwards to get much option. The distribution just wasn't there consistently for him either. So tough. And I think that leads to DCL too. I can't really give him a 7, but it's not his fault either. Like, he just wasn't given good opportunities. It was just, with the balls knocked over your head, what are you to do?
Yeah, look, nice flat 6 because he's not done much, but it's not his fault. One of them where if a player gets a 6 and you think, well, he's played okay, but they really need to be doing better, you tell him after the game you need to do better. But Dom, you coming off, you wouldn't say to him, you got a 6, you need to do better. Yeah. He's had a tough game. He's just been, we've already spoken about it, he's been given a really thankless task on a horrible, horrible day.
Yeah, and let's flip this around then, because around, was it the 67th, the 70th minute? Yeah, we had those 3 subs come in. we had Beto come on for DCL. Jack Harrison was subbed off for Jesper Lindstrom. And then it was Ashley Young for Seamus Coleman. And Beto, being the bull in the china shop that he kind of is, was stirring up a lot of was opening up the defense in a different way than DCL was able to do. So I think he made more of an impact on the game. Granted, I think Everton were playing better. So was it truly DCL not playing as well as Beto? Yeah, maybe. But it was also, he wasn't, the game was more up for grabs at that point. And I think DCL was just burnt out from just running hopelessly, doing doggies the entire time. So Beto to me was 6.5, maybe you could say 7, but as a striker, did he really do much with his opportunities? He didn't get any, so I can't say 7, but he was all right too.
Yeah, I agree. Look, that chance for Njai late on, that comes from him. I think he fights just him and Calvert-Lewin, he fights, but I think he fights in a different way. And this game late on was as frantic as it was starting to become, because I think it started to get very frantic about 5 minutes earlier than that. We started to get a bit more into it, started to open, and then when he threw Beto on, that agent of chaos in this weather, he proper scrapped. He uses both. Whereas Don will try and use his body, Beto will use 2 hands as well. Now it comes off as a foul sometimes, but he just wants to scrap. He wants to win that ball, and it's because of him that Colwill struggled. He then popped the ball through Mangala to Lindstrom. So it's because of him that we got that break, and that's happened previously where he's fought. We've won the ball high up because of that, and then we broke. So if we'd have scored that goal, I'd have give Beto a 7, because he would have very much created that, and he made a good run into the box. If Sanchez doesn't get a touch on that ball, Beto puts it in the back of the net as well. Yeah,
his off the ball runs bring players with him. So the David B says his main takeaway this evening is Spare Rib Express. I will counter that with one other takeaway. If I was to go to a concert, let's say with a relatively sized crammed mosh pit near the front of a stadium, I would bring Beto. He will somehow like bump into everyone, make them unsettled, and you're like, cool, I can go further up the field and find a lane to kind of work your way into the crowd. So he just makes people move around because of his presence in a way that DCL doesn't. So there are times when you want to just break open and make the force a scramble, and he will do that.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's a difficult customer. He's awkward. He's gangly, but he battles. He really wants it. You've seen it when he scored that goal against Fulham. I like the passion, and I do think that if you play to his strengths, he will get you a couple of goals. He's not anyone else who really, really struggles. He's got some technical ability. Dribbling is raw, passing is raw, but in terms of technical ability in front of goal, I can see it. I can see the intelligence is there. I'm not saying he should be our number 1 striker, but he'll go somewhere and he'll make a bit of a better name for himself than he would do at Everton.
Yeah, I could see a scenario, and I don't think it's under Dyche based on how he plays. But when you think of, we say Neil Maupay was a shit, comical and what have you. But when he played off the big striker, like the likes of Ivan Toney, a lot. There was opportunities for him to really impact the game. I could see Iliman Ndiaye being quasi that second striker right behind Beto when the match opens up, and he just finds that lane, finds that little slot, maybe plays as a false 9 or becomes a 10 based on the period of the game, and he's in the box by the penalty spot taking opportunities. That was what we kind of saw there for that strike that got blocked by Tosin, just kind of around and finding that space because Beto's stirring it up. I would like to see that combination more often, rather than
I think
him on the wing.
I enjoy that, and I think he'd do well with Brozier, because Brozier will drop out wide and create that space for him to work off. I think they'd be a good 2 to work. Doesn't work well with Dom, because Dom's a proper target forward. But if you play someone like Brozier, who'll get on the ball and maybe do that kind of footballing side of things that you lose from Beto, I think they could strike up some sort of good partnership potentially. Then you've got to decide you do 4-4-2, which I disagree with. But there's ways around that, especially for the team that doesn't really use their width anyway. But that's probably a conversation for another
that could be another one, because I could actually really see Brozier playing sort of an inside right forward, but we don't have an inside left in the same way. what you end up having is McNeil high and wide out left, and then Jai playing as a number 10. So it's really advanced on the left and kind of dense and tucked in on the right side. And you play really conservative with Ashley Young playing back most of the time. And you're just pushing that left side a bunch and having back post runs with Brozier.
Yeah, and
that's what I'd like to see.
You've got there 3 or 4 players who want to get in the box, who want to arrive in late, and it just adds more opportunity for you to score, which we miss at the moment.
Yeah. So speaking of options at the right side, Jesper Lindstrom came on. Do you think he opened up the game more than Harrison anyway?
Well, it's better than Jack Harrison, yeah. He certainly offered something. A couple of times when he got the ball and he was trying to dance through. There's one where he made a recovery run backwards to get the ball. Didn't win it, but it was just a loose ball. He's showing a good turn of pace there. Again, the ball in the Sanchez blocked for the Njai chance. And not just that, but obviously one of the big question marks on him is defensively. Obviously late on when he came in and won the ball a couple of times in that corner on the right-hand side. So look, I don't think the lad's a slouch. I don't think he's a kind of winger or number 10 or luxury player, I guess, that's not going to get involved like people thought might be the case with Njai. He's shown that he wants to get back and he wants to defend. Lindstrom probably doesn't have the know-how for it as much, but he's got the effort there. He's got the work rate, if you know what I mean, in terms of coming back.
I mean, they both have the work rate, both of them. But the on the attacking side, Harrison seems to struggle with options. Lindstrom, he just doesn't know how to, like, he jumps in at the wrong time, but you know that he'll break the line at some point. I'm just waiting for it to happen.
And it's a numbers game. Look, a lot of the best players do that. Jamie Vardy does. He plays on the line and he gets caught offside so many times. But when it works, you're through and goal, and he scores. He scored so many from it.
The main difference is Vardy scores goals and Lindstrom has not gotten the score sheet.
Yeah, but it's more a case of just what it brings. So look, if he's done what he's done today and he's played that ball for Njai, from a midfield point of view, from a creative point of view, he's almost done his job to the level that Vardy would. Obviously, there's different levels, but he's done that job, if you know what I mean. So, again, certainly positives to look at. We know what we're getting with him. I agree with Wormy Spoons. He is more of a number 10. But while he's what we've got, and he has got a little bit of pace, he's not winger rapid, but number 10s can still break that line. You want your number 10s to get in behind, not just the pockets, but to get in behind and create that space for your forward.
Yeah, what I think you almost want to see, because let's say today we were always 4-5-1 setup, and what you would almost want is in possession on a counter attack. You actually go 4-3-2-1, and they tuck in narrow right behind the lead striker and kind of play inside forward for both of them. So they're kind of number 10s. Njai can go out left, Lindstrom can go out wide right if they want to, but going in that channel between their fullbacks and the centre halves and making them uncomfortable because they've got the pace to turn and go, you know? So
yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think he's got all the attributes, Lindstrom, to do that. We don't play to them strengths, but he's got all the attributes for it. In my eyes, we just need to give him the game time and play him in that role or get the best out of him, which might not get from the manager, but hopefully over a bit of time and some more play time over the season, we get to see that from him.
Yeah, and to follow up Wormy's other point, we've kind of talked about this as well, and Man City in particular, when they play high and advanced and people score in them, on the turnover. So if we're to score, we have to take, if we want to win or get a goal, that's the moment where you break 3 players or more forward when they've got too many players high, advanced, and out of position, and they're trusting holding possession, and they're not doing it consistently enough right now, and they have gaps through the middle. So that's exactly what we would need to do to score. Yeah,
I agree. We do. When we counter attack, we're a bit slow in it, but not just that, we don't commit men forward. There's only the striker, maybe Njai if he's getting forward, and maybe the Corday. Other teams, when they commit plays, so if you look at Chelsea when they were breaking, they were committing 4-5 players forward. And at that point, then you create that indecision and you overload on the opposition's defence. We don't do that. We're slow going forward, and we don't commit too many men. That's a tactical thing. We do need to start doing that. But again, we know what we've got.
All right. And I think the final person we've talked briefly was Coleman. I think Did he stand out? No. Was he underwhelming in any way? No. 6, 7. I don't even care at this
I
point.
said 6.5 because he come on and he's shown what he's about and he's shown what he can do.
Yeah.
But it's a small cameo
So-
again, isn't it? So yeah, 6.5. I'll be happy with that.
How did we talked about how are we going to talk about Everton on a 0-0 draw for any period of time, and we somehow managed to keep about 100 people on live listening to us talk about a 0-0 for an hour. I am impressed. I'm concerned about the health of Everton fans that we can come up with content like this for an hour, but I'm sure we'll come up with a whole bunch more with previews for the match against Man City. And that'll be on Boxing Day. I'll be back out on site, so I'm not sure you'll be seeing much from me for a couple weeks based on that. But for those that are having an early Christmas, like I did with my family tonight, well, at least happy holiday season, whatever you celebrate. Sometimes it can be really difficult, and people that don't have a good family setup, so this period can be really tough for them. So wish everyone well and keep tabs on your friends that aren't as fortunate as you guys are. But honestly, have a great festive season, everyone, and let's stay positive. We got a point again today. We're proving we can take on some good squads and get points. It could be a lot better, but hey, we've been bought out. It's Christmas for some of us. Anything else you'd like to say before we say up the toffees and sign off?
No. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays, and even if you don't celebrate, I hope you just enjoy the festive season. I hope you, if anything, you enjoy the fact that we've got more points than we expected in this time period. We're doing better than we expected for this month. Let's enjoy that. Let's stay positive. Enjoy your Christmases, everyone, and we'll see you on Boxing Day.
Great. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.